So give me the Titans plus the points, and we'll see what happens in London.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this one right here. This is a good NFC matchup between the Commanders 2-3, and then you got the Falcons 3-2, 2.5-point spread to the Falcons, and then you also have an over/under of 42 points here as well. In their last 10 matchups, the Falcons actually have won the last 7 out of 10, but in the last 2 games that they played, the Commanders won those games. So this is a tricky series, but we know all time that the Commanders do actually own the season series of 17-10, one overall ever against the Falcons. And I just threw that out there just because, Jeff, because I was doing notes and stuff. So, I just wanted to make sure that people knew that. But all in all, you got a Commanders team on 10 days of rest coming into this game. They played their worst game of the season. Let's keep it real, after playing one of their best games of the season. And I knew that the physical toll of the Eagles game was going to wear them out in that Bears game, but they didn't take the Bears as serious as they should have. And that's why they wound up getting beat the way that they did. But they did show some life in that third quarter that made you say, okay, they really are a team that doesn't really quit. But what happened in the Commanders game, there was just too many mistakes made coaching wise by Ron Rivera, and that's what put them in a bad position throughout the game. And it pretty much was hard to catch up with that situation, even though it felt like it was going to be a comeback coming against the Bears, whose defense was, very suspect. But once again, when you get 3 days rest and you have one team that's pretty banged up, and they did a lot of plays offensively, they just don't have it. And then when they get banged up on the other side as well too, they won't have it late. And that's exactly what happened. And then you say, no, but the Bears played 3 days earlier. The Bears played a game where they kind of were up, and then they went on cruise control, and then they lost the game. And so they came in there pissed off. They played pissed off. That's just what it was. And the Commanders got the brunt end of that, and that's what happens. And you take the loss, chuck it up, and move on. The Falcons last week, another miracle finish at home. We know that the Falcons were absolutely awful on the road. They scored 13 points and gave up in the process 43. So they are not a good road team. That's just pretty much what everything is indicating. But at home, it's a different story because they're playing some of the best defense in the NFL when they're at home. They're also playing some really good team ball as well too. And Bijan Robinson just lights up the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, just crazy. They just love what the kid is doing, and he was able to score a big touchdown Sunday as well too to put them ahead in that game. And that was just a good back and forth game with a beatable team. Let's keep it real, Jeff. We know the Texans are on the up and up, and they had 1-2 in a row coming into the game, but those were adrenaline wins. You know what I mean? And you got Atlanta coming fresh off of a beat down in London. They hadn't seen their home crowd in 2 weeks. So that perfect storm was able to get them a good win against a team that was very similar to them in the Texans, a team that you really don't know who they're going to be at the end of the road. But, at the end of the day, they're not going to be in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But the Falcons have playoff aspirations because they play in a very weak NFC. So when you look at the way that this game sets up, I truly do feel that the Commanders, who are a little bit more of a physical team and a team that really had a rough game Thursday where it just nothing worked. But you could see the potential of things working. And Sam Howell is not playing the greatest football. And I think that this game will be the one that they really judge on if they should be moving forward with Sam Howell, if they truly want to get themselves to where you predicted they could be in the playoffs, Jeff. So I say that, you give Sam Howell another opportunity to try to win this game for you. But if he struggles a bit, you might need to go to Brissett next week. You know what I mean? You just might have to think about that option because Washington does have a good little small chance to be a playoff team. But I think that you have to be able to check the quarterback position as well too. The quarterback position has become the weakest link on the offensive side. Even though Sam had his best game last time out, it's still an issue. But all in all, I truly do feel what comes down to it is that the Commanders have a team that's just a little bit more physical than the Falcons. The Falcons, to me, are a finesse team, and they're a little soft. Let's keep it real. And I just really, truly feel that the Commanders win this game. I'm taking them straight up, Jeff, on the plus 115 money line. So there it is. There it is. What are your thoughts, and who do you have winning this game?
My true number was a pick 'em with a 40. It's now at 42 with the Falcons at a 2.5. I like where your eyes are. When you go back to Thursday night's game, it was the perfect storm for Fields and company. Thank God I had the Fields to DJ Moore, and I had Cole Kmet in some spots for the fantasy. And so I had like 109 points between the three of them on one team. But now coming to this game, Bijan looks great. He just not giving them the rushing goal line attempts because they don't get down there often. Drake London making some nice catches. Kyle Pitts still on a milk carton. Jono Smith, former Patriot, former Titan, has had his role increased. What really stuck out on Thursday was Washington's defense. I think this is a game for Washington to win. They need their defense to show up. The Falcons aren't going to rush to the window and put up 24 or 27. You keep the Falcons in that 17 zone. I like what I've seen in spurts with Sam Howell. He can make all the throws. Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuels quietly had increased role. Thomas Logan, which was a big pickup for me last week, scored last week, has got an increased role, the tight end from Washington. Jahan Dotson, who I was so high on, MIA as well. So you need to start increasing his look. I like Washington. We bought the hook to +3, but I like where your eyes are. I think Washington wins this game, Bubs.
I just think that, it's a funny situation with the Falcons. They're a different team every week. And I think that they're, like I said, they're better. They seem better at home, but they are struggling on the road. But let's see how it goes, because this is probably the best matchup they've had at home, team-wise. Because when you look at who they played, the Panthers, Packers, and the Texans, and you say those games are winnable. But when you look at this Commanders game, it's a 50-50. That's what it was when you looked at it on the schedule as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out.